What's going on, guys? It's Mighty, and today I'm going to be giving my final review on Destiny. I use quotes because when is it ever like final nowadays to have all this DLC and expansions and updates and patches and all that kind of stuff? But I have seen basically everything that the game has to offer at this time, and these are my thoughts on that stuff. I'm going to make this like a faster, not as in-depth kind of review. If you want to see my full thoughts, check out my blog. I just put up a post earlier today. It is my full review, comprehensive, going over everything from the story to the mission structure, graphics, multiplayer, endgame stuff, how I think they can fix things, all that kind of stuff. So I absolutely recommend you check that out. Link to that is in the description. It's my blog. If you want, in fact, when you're done watching this video, check that out. I don't know if you leave comments on that or whatever, but you can read the blog and come back here and leave your comments here. I definitely want to, begin some kind of discussion about the game, because I know a lot of people feel similar to the way that I feel, in that, I'm disappointed with how it came out. But I'm still having a good time with it, and I'm still playing it a ton. When I finish recording this, I'm going to go hop back on and see what the daily bounties are, go play it, do the daily mission, play that, get some strange coins if I can, whatever, all that kind of stuff, and get back to that grinding. But really, overall, I have to say that I'm disappointed. I certainly didn't have as high of expectations as a lot of people did. Certainly when they announced it, I was blown away. It sounded like the next big thing, kind of how Borderlands, when that was revealed, totally changed how first-person shooters can work in a co-op sense and with loot and RPG mechanics and all that kind of stuff. This seemed like it was going to do that, modernizing MMOs for people like me that are more traditional console gamers, not PC gamers. It doesn't really do any of that. It really straddles the line between being a traditional first-person shooter with some light, very light RPG mechanics, a little bit of MMO stuff, but it really breaks down when, if you look at it as a first-person shooter, it's solid. The gameplay is very tight, very well done. Graphically, it looks great. The upgrade pathing is good. The story sucks. No redeemable qualities about it. It is super generic. I mean, the thing is called The Traveler. You are a guardian. The other character's name is The Speaker. It's the worst sci-fi crap you could ever imagine. But you can put that stuff away if you look at it as a first-person shooter. Because let's be honest, the biggest shooters, Call of Duty and Battlefield and games like that, do they really offer intense character stories like something like The Last of Us or Mass Effect has done? No way. It's all just a means to do fun shooting things stuff. The problem is with Destiny, that bad story doesn't really provide you the option to do a lot of cool shooting stuff. The shooting feels great, but the things you are doing are still boring. You go to this area, kill this many guys. I'm playing on PS4, so I hold square. Peter Dinklage goes out, drones for 10 seconds. Oh, well, yep, we got the sword. We have it. Oh, yep, go ahead and fight off some guys while I'm going to do some science. All right. And that's every mission. And so it's just it gets really boring really quickly. So I don't know. It's tough because it feels great to play, but it's not giving you anything fun to do. And so those kind of don't go together that well. The biggest positive about it is that loot grind that you get into once you hit the level cap. I'm playing a Warlock. I'm at level 25 right now, just a little under 26. I've been having really bad luck unlocking legendaries. I haven't gotten a single legendary drop. I've gotten probably 10 legendary engrams. None of them have given me a legendary. They're patching that to guarantee a legendary engram gives you a legendary, so that'll at least be nice. But it sucks getting the same stuff over and over again. The only legendary thing I have are boots, and I bought them myself with marks from the Future War Cult people. I bought an exotic helmet from Xur, the guy that shows up on weekends, and I got an exotic weapon bounty that I'm currently going through. So I'll have like an exotic weapon and stuff like that. It's just, this is after like 15 hours of grinding post level 20 in order to get to where I am. And that just kind of sucks that I get that they don't want everyone to have legendary stuff, but everyone does anyway. It's just that you have to devote so many hours. There's no skill in how you unlock stuff. It's all random. It's all luck. The only skill comes in with people that are able to do the really high level raids or strikes or play PvP at a high level. But even like winning a PvP game doesn't give you any better of a chance to get an unlock. It's totally random. You know, I could be at the top of the scoreboard 10 games in a row and not unlock a single thing. The guy at the bottom goes 1 in 20 and he can get a legendary engram. Like, that seems... I get that they want to make it fair and they don't want to punish people that are just trying to have fun and aren't necessarily, like, good players. But there should be some of that. You shouldn't be able to have the best gear if you aren't a good player. That's just kind of how it should work. You can't dumb everything down to the lowest common denominator. But I don't know, that's... kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent there. The biggest drawbacks to the game for me right now are the story, which is total garbage, and the MMO part of it, which is being in this big open world, getting quests, ambient stuff happening, interacting with other players, and none of that happens. The only time you're in an open world is when you do the patrol missions, and from there you can only get these little side quests, which basically tell you, go to this area and stand here for 10 seconds and watch a percentage meter go up, or kill this many guys. That's all there is to do in the side missions. And so, like, it's so boring. And that open world is the same open world that you see when you do the other missions, like the story missions, except the story missions are focused on one little corner of it, or this little corner, or this little corner. The patrol, you can do everything. And it's just... I don't know, man. I can't get into that. And then the tower, like the main hub world that you would see in an MMO, should be the place where you're having these interesting interactions with NPCs and trading gear with other players and walking up and being like, wow, that dude looks really cool. I want to try to party up with him. And Bungie makes it really hard to do anything like that. All the NPCs have nothing to say. You walk up to them, you press square, and they go like, oh yeah, I got this for you. And then you leave and go to the next one. Like, none of them have any stories to tell. You can't talk to them, learn more about them. Nothing. You just walk up, buy something, and leave. There's nothing to do in the tower. Nothing interesting to do. And as far as interacting with other players, there's no, like, proximity chat. So if I walk up to a guy, I can't, like, say hello to him. The only interaction you can do is you can point at him, you can wave, you can sit, or you can dance. And in a game that takes itself so seriously, in fact, this game takes itself so seriously that it's funny, because there's nothing serious about it. Like, there's no real stakes. Nothing you're doing really feels like it matters. None of the characters are interesting, but everything is so heavy-handed. Like, Bill Nighy playing the speaker, everything, you know. There's one quote from the game of, like, we used to tell stories about the darkness, and it would scare the children. We don't tell those stories anymore, but the kids are still scared. And I'm just sitting there, like, laughing hysterically, because it's so stupid. Like, what are you talking about? None of that means anything. There's a big world thing that is there. That's all we know about it. We know nothing about the Traveler. Whatever. But this big, interesting world that they created, they have done absolutely nothing with. There is no story to be spoken of, no characters, no real interaction between other players unless you already know them in real life and you already, like, are friends with them and join a fire team and go play Crucible or go do strikes or whatever. Even when you go do a strike by yourself, which is what I usually do because I don't have a ton of friends to play with, the people that you're putting the strike missions with, you can't talk to them unless you create a fire team. Like, that's so dumb. That totally takes away any tactics. There's no matchmaking for the stories, so if you're like me and you don't have a bunch of friends playing at all times, I have to just play the stories by myself, because my only other option is to go to the tower and just send 20 messages begging people to team up with me, which is what I have to do for the weekly strikes that I have to do for, like, my exotic weapon bounty, and that's the only way you can get this, like, higher level gear stuff. You have to do these weekly strikes that are basically impossible to try to do by yourself. There's no matchmaking. So what am I supposed to do? I don't have any friends that can play it, and I can't play it by myself, And there's no easy way for me to find other people to play it. So I just have to go to the tower, walk up to every single player, send them a message like, hey, play the weekly strike with me, please. You don't know me. I could be some 12-year-old who's just going to shout the N-word at you for 20 minutes. You have no idea of knowing that, but come on, play with me for a half hour. That's so broken. It's so dumb. And, like, the raid, there's no matchmaking. I don't even have, like, I have maybe 6 friends total that play this game. And no offense to them, most of them don't play the game at a level to where they'd be able to play the raid. So I will never be able to play the raid. Ever. Because I don't have friends that can play it. I can't talk to random people. It won't even, like, if I go in, you should be able to go in and say, hey, I want to try this raid, put me with 5 random people. I understand that they want to make it so tactical that you have to communicate, but if that's the case, let us communicate. Don't force us to only play with our friends, because you can't talk to random people right now. And I know they're trying to patch that in, but again, I can only speak to how the game is. I can't just wait and not make my official review for months on end until they fix all the problems that we've been waiting for them to fix. At a certain point, they shipped this game how it is and asked people to pay $60 for it. So that's what I'm going to review. And I'm not going to make like a judgment call on if it's worth $60 or anything like that, because there's certainly a decent amount of content and I have fun when I'm playing it. But it's like when I sit back and think about the game, there are just so many things to be disappointed in and to not like. And, I mean, I said this in my blog post. On Tuesday of this week, I mean, when you're seeing this, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor comes out. Once that game comes out, like every other week for the rest of the year, there's a big game coming out that I'm playing. Once that starts happening, I don't see myself playing this. I'm already level 25. I'm almost 26. I have some legendary gear. I got an exotic thing. Like, I've done everything except for the raid. There's nothing new for me to experience in this game. And the updates that they've shown still isn't anything new. Like, with the Queen, they get some new bounties, but there's, like, no real new missions or anything like that. The next expansion, I think, comes out in, like, January. There's nothing else for me to do in this game. I'm playing it because I don't have anything else to play. And I'm having fun. But at a certain point, that's going to stop. The tedium is going to hit hard, and I'm just not going to play it anymore. And honestly, at the point where it is, I don't have a ton of interest in playing Destiny 2, because I'm a traditional single-player gamer person. I want to see story or at least some kind of gameplay functionality that is interesting to keep me playing. I'm not looking for a big co-op experience or competitive multiplayer. I mean, when I play Borderlands, it's more fun when I can play with my brother or some friends, but I can still play that by myself and have a great time, because I can skip missions if I don't want to play them. It's still funny. Like, there's a ton of guns to play around with, a bunch of really different areas to go to, and Destiny doesn't have any of that. None of the guns are really any different from any of the other ones. There aren't any characters. It has no sense of humor at all. I mean, no sense of anything, honestly. It takes itself so seriously in a boring way. It's just, I don't know. I mean, my score or whatever, I gave it a 7 because I think that there's a solid foundation for them to build on in the sequel. But if the sequel ends up being more of this, I have very little interest in it. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Like I said, I'm still playing a ton of it, so there's something to be said for that. There's something about the mechanics and the grinding, the loot grinding and all that stuff that keeps bringing me back. So there is a positive side of the game that I'm experiencing. So let me know, what are you guys thinking? If you've picked it up, what class are you playing? Are you playing with friends or playing by yourself? How do those experiences differ? And definitely check out my blog post if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts. I talked a lot about in this video stuff that I didn't talk about in the blog post, so I'm not just going to be repeating myself a lot. But thanks guys for watching. I don't know. I don't know, man. I give it a 7 out of 10. I'm curious to see what the expansions look like, if they fix some of the story problems that I have, mission structure problems that I have. I'll be very curious to see what this game looks like going forwards. But thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
We go with